This is Duke University.
Good morning, faculty, family, and friends. Good morning to our distinguished guests. And good morning to Duke University's class of 2015. And an especially good morning to all the mothers here today who are making yet another sacrifice for us by spending their Mother's Day sitting in the hot sun. Forgot to edit that part. Thank you, Tropical Storm Anna. From all of the graduates out here today, we thank you for your love and support every step of the way. Often, we like to pretend that our accomplishments are ours alone, but we might not say it often, but really, we could not have done it without you. That one's for you, Mom. This morning, I want to talk about vision and execution. There's a quote I love that says, "Vision without execution is just hallucination." People attribute it to everyone from Edison to Einstein, and someone traced it back to a Japanese proverb that goes, "Vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare." But no matter who said it, it makes a good point that we need a creative vision to make change in the world, but that vision alone is not enough, that we also need execution to make that change real. Okay, now think for a minute. Do you remember what you were doing at 5 p.m. on Sunday, March 29th? You might have been cheering for our men's basketball team while they played Gonzaga and earned their spot in the Final Four. And you might have kept watching the same channel after the game when Duke was featured again, this time for a new brain cancer treatment. Both of these very public victories came after years of hard work and some brilliant behind-the-scenes innovation. This cancer treatment uses the polio virus to fight brain cancer. A Duke doctor turned a terrible disease into a tool in the fight against another terrible disease. Now that is Duke innovation, combining a creative vision with years of painstaking execution. And though Cameron Indoor Stadium may seem like an unlikely arena for innovation, hear me out on this. It was about a year ago that Coach K had a creative new vision for how the men's basketball team would work together. He spotted a talented new recruit, and he thought the team would do best with that recruit at point guard. But Quinn Cook, a member of our very own class of 2015, had always played point guard. Now, my friends will tell you that I know nothing about sports. I'm the guy freshman year who walked up to a basketball player in Kville and asked him what tent number he was, but I have to imagine it's hard to change the position you've always played. But our team worked hard, practiced together, and executed Coach K's vision. And boy, did it pay off with a national championship win for Duke. Now, I might not know much about sports, but what I do know about, and what I think you know about too, is basically just as exciting. Reading. We spent the past few years reading a lot, whether it was MATLAB or Melville, Case Law or Church Fathers, Friedrich Hayek or Rachel Carson. There's been a lot of small print. And all that small print has probably left us more nearsighted than when we first arrived. I'm just hoping I can still read well enough to check my diploma and make sure that I have, in fact, graduated because, well, can parking and transportation actually keep you from graduating? It's a question on a lot of our minds. So while Duke may have hurt our eyesight, it also taught us to see some things differently, like shades of blue. There's the good one, and, well, you know. It wasn't until 2014, though, that I realized the most powerful way Duke changes our vision. On a service trip in Costa Rica, our group lived alongside students from another university. And over dinner one night, just making conversation back and forth, we asked what they liked about their school and what they would change about it. And their forks stopped in midair, and they looked back at us, and their jaws dropped as if we had asked, not, what would you change about your school, but what would you change about your mother? Oh, We like our school the way it is, they quickly replied, though they eventually conceded that they would add more parking, something we could empathize with after long years of long trudges from the far reaches of the Blue Zone. You know what I'm talking about. But they didn't want to change anything else. And then they asked us how we would change Duke, and we had no trouble coming up with a long list. From student organization funding, to social culture, to handicapped accessibility, to all that construction. And I don't think we liked Duke any less than they liked their school. No, if any outsider had made those same criticisms, we would have snarled back at them. No, I think we were able to come up with that list of changes because Duke has given us what I call Blue Devil double vision. On the one hand, Dukies learn to see the world as it is. We're taught to figure out how systems work, whether anatomical, political, economic, or theological. It's trite but true that higher education doesn't just teach us, but rather teaches us how to learn. It equips us with the ability to analyze the world around us wherever we are plopped down in that world, which is probably why 98.7% of my peers are headed into consulting. We don't hold on to utopian visions that keep us from operating successfully in the world as it is. We are realistic, practical, pragmatic people. But over 4 years here, I've learned that at our best, we are also idealistic. While we've been taught to figure out how systems work, we've also been taught to creatively imagine how they might work better. Think of all the social justice campaigns we've witnessed on campus, from women's empowerment to interfaith dialogues, from med students who host a Black Lives Matter die-in, to law school students who work tirelessly to free the wrongly convicted. Now, many of the people graduating here today will probably be successful at execution, in business or medicine or law or art or fields we have not even imagined yet. But we are not just good at execution. We are not just seeking success. We are not just ruthlessly practical profit seekers. No, this isn't Wolf of Wall Street University. This is Duke University. And here, we've been pushed to develop a creative vision for how to improve the world around us. We can imagine how our communities, our countries, our world might be more peaceful, more just, more equitable, more beautiful. Our speaker, Dr. Farmer, has lived this out as he worked to improve medical care in rural Haiti. He had to work to understand the world as it was so that he could execute successfully, but he still had to hold tight to his vision of how the world might be. That's the Blue Devil double vision. We can simultaneously see the world both as it is and as it might be. We can accept, work with, and even come to love the way things are without ever giving up on our vision of how they can be made better. We can realistically but lovingly critique the institutions to which we belong, whether they're hospitals or businesses or government agencies. We are reformers who care about results. We are advocates with realistic approaches. We are effective agents of change. Duke has prepared us to combine vision and execution, to marry idealism and pragmatism. Duke has challenged us to look through two lenses at the same time, like if I look through my glasses and see you clearly out in front, or lift them up and see a hazy vision of what might be over the next decades as we go out and change the world. We can see the world both as it is and as it might be. And I hope we hold on to this Blue Devil double vision, because if we do, we might get to not only succeed for ourselves, but also to leave the world a little bit better than we found it. Thank you.